Alright guys, welcome back. Was getting to work on this elevator assembly, installing the servo and the rods and everything. I kind of ran into a little snafu. This is a Futaba brushless S-Bus BLS 172. It's kind of their flagship of servos, like the JRs. High voltage version of the 87 11s. But you know, I went to put it in and it's a little bit bigger than the actual, JR size. I think they just cut these things for JR size servos, because I looked at the measurements on these things and they were about the same as a JR, so they should have fit. I think they might be just obviously they're just a little bit larger, but it's not so much the the width and the height of it, or the length of it. It's the corners. A little bit more of a corner rounded to the JR than the actual. I think, yeah, it looks like the corners are a little bit different. It might be just a millimeter. Yeah, it looks like it's about a millimeter long. Width-wise, they're same width. The width's not the problem. It's just the lengthwise. Pushes too close to these. Oops, sorry. Pushes too close to the ends where these, and it's hitting on the corners here. So I'm gonna take a Dremel, just grind it down a little bit, maybe sandpaper. But probably just take the Dremel and just kind of go along this edge right here. Actually, a little bit here and a little bit here to keep it even, just to get the servo to slide in there. It's got threaded, looks like 3mm bolts there to hold them down. It does have the option to run 2 servos. People were talking about these these elevators being real hard on servos, and I mean, looking at the rudder itself, it don't seem to be anything different than, like my F-16. My F-16 elevator is just a little bit smaller than this, and they say it's kind of a tail heavy thing, but I mean, it's about the same as my elevator on my F-16. So I don't know if it needs, if having 2 servos would help, but I would guess not, because nobody seems to do it. They just put one JR 8711 on there. But if you wasn't trying to conserve weight or anything, you could obviously run 2 JR servos or high-techs or whatever you wanted, like that. And then the other arm, which is still in the bag, just bolts here, so you would have this one going here, and you'd have to buy some rods for the long side, because they only give you rods for the short. So they give you rods for the single servo, but if you wanted to, you could put dual servos in there. You just need a long one here and a short one over here. So I don't know, something to think about. People that say they have flutter, or I know a lot of people went into the smallest servo arms they can get to pretty much fix the problem. So that's what I plan on doing. I plan on running just one. I mean, 500 ounces of torque is more than enough. I'm just going to try to find a metal round servo arm just like this, and just run it like that, because I'll probably still have to cut down my endpoints, because these things don't need much throw. But that's the hold up right now. I'll get back to that once I get this grinded out. Just wanted to show you that. I'm also going to fabricate a plate that matches this bolt pattern right here, these 4 bolts, because this bolts into the aft bulkhead, and then you have 4 3mm bolts with washers. And B1 Bob already saw that those washers over time, basically, because they're washer against wood, if you tighten them too much, it basically just bows the washer and puts an impression in the wood, and vibrations can cause that wood to fatigue a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just take a piece of real thin aluminum, mark the pattern. It can be any shape you want back here, but just the size of this block is all I'm going to do, drill 4 holes. That way it's kind of like a clamp on that back bolt head, and those bolts have something to sit on instead of a real small little washer that's going to dig in to help distribute the load. Front has the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing with that. I'm just going to get a little, looks like about a 1/4 inch by 1 inch or 1.5 inch piece of aluminum with that same bolt hole. Boom. And it also has places right here. These two holes right here. There's 2 holes in the wood bulkhead that this sits against that you could run 2 bolts in there as well. So you got 2 bolts there, 4 here, and 2 here. So that thing's not going anywhere. You pretty much rip the bulkhead out before it comes loose. This is just a brass sleeve. Pull it out. Arm comes out. Nothing high tech there. 2 bearings here. Got 2 little screws with washers holding the bearings in. So if you ever need to replace the bearings, I mean, they only turn a little bit. They seem like good for, yeah. Okay, bearings seem okay. I'm still using the bearings that came with the F-14. I don't have any problems with them, so I'm just going to use them if I need to. Just get some bearings from Boco bearings or something later on. They start to wear. Got the tip drying. The paint I used wasn't working too good, so I'm going to actually get some regular house paint, white. I'm going to do it white. Paint it up again, put another coat on after that dries, and that'll be done. Then I'll go through installing that. That's just it. Just want to give you guys a little update on that. So if you do use a, well, I'm sure another Futaba servo. Let's see here. Let's see. Here's a Futaba servo. One of their non-high speed. Yeah. I'm sure. And this one's actually a little loose in there. So I think it's just they went a little bit bigger for that high voltage servo. Let's get a high tech here. See if the high tech will fit. Let's see. So here's a 5645 high tech. Let's see if it's the same. Yeah, it's got a lot of slop. So the best fit is a JR 8711. So here's the high tech. So the best fit's going to be a JR, and I'm guessing if you use one of those high techs that has like the 700 ounces of torque, whatever it is, it's a little bit. It's obvious. It's actually quite a bit bigger than the Futaba servo, so you'd have to grind quite a bit to get it in there. But I heard somebody that was using one of those too. So if anybody's used 2 servos on theirs, they might want to chime in and let us know what servos they used and how it's working out for them. Alright, you guys have a good one.